Have you ever wondered that your favorite dairy products might be harmful to your health, especially when you're over 60? Many elderly people don't even realize that these products can cause inflammation in the body. Today, we'll talk about 3 dairy products you should avoid if you want to stay healthy and active. Cottage cheese is something many elderly people add to their diet. It's considered a source of protein and calcium, which are important for maintaining bone health. But did you know that this product might not be as beneficial as it seems at first glance? Yes, cottage cheese helps strengthen bones, but it's not that simple. It contains not only beneficial substances, but also compounds that can lead to inflammation in the body. Many elderly people don't realize that cottage cheese could be the cause of joint pain. Why? It all comes down to fatty acids. Cottage cheese, especially full fat, can contain omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation. Joint inflammation is exactly what you want to avoid, especially if you suffer from conditions like arthritis or osteoporosis. Let's dive into how the fatty acids in cottage cheese can affect your health. Omega-6 fatty acids are pro-inflammatory, meaning they contribute to inflammatory processes in the body. If your diet is too high in omega-6 acids and lacks omega-3s, inflammation becomes chronic. And here's an interesting fact. To balance omega-6 and omega-3, you need to increase your intake of omega-3 fatty acids. But what do we usually eat in large amounts? That's right, omega-6. This leads to an imbalance, promoting inflammation in the body, including the joints. Now, imagine that cottage cheese is one of the products that can disturb this balance. This is especially relevant for elderly people whose joints are already prone to wear and inflammation. Dairy products, including cottage cheese, have long been considered essential allies for maintaining healthy bones. This isn't entirely untrue, but you need to remember that, as we age, our bodies begin to process calcium from dairy products differently. For the elderly, problems with digesting and absorbing calcium can worsen. As a result, dairy products like cottage cheese don't always deliver the desired results and can even cause inflammation. Calcium may not be absorbed properly if there is inflammation in the body, and inflamed joints and bones can only worsen the problem. So, what can you use instead of cottage cheese to support your health without risking your joints and bones? First, you should focus on plant-based sources of protein. For example, almonds or other nuts can be a great alternative because they contain mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation. You could also try soy cottage cheese, which is less harmful to the joints than traditional dairy. If you still want to consume dairy products, choose those with lower fat content and more beneficial nutrients. For example, low-fat or fat-free cottage cheese options that contain fewer omega-6 fatty acids. Now, here's a question. How often do you experience joint pain or discomfort after consuming cottage cheese or other dairy products? Share your experience in the comments. Maybe you should pay attention to how these products affect your well-being. It might be the factor to exclude from your diet for better health. Remember that joint health is not only about proper nutrition, but also about regular physical exercises that support mobility. You shouldn't rely solely on diet to improve joint health. Proper exercises that maintain flexibility and muscle strength also play an important role in reducing inflammation and strengthening joints. If you want to continue eating cottage cheese or other dairy products, it's important to consider all these factors. Sometimes small changes in diet and lifestyle can lead to amazing results. Cheese is one of the most delicious and popular foods that people of all ages enjoy. In older age, cheese seems especially appealing because it is rich in calcium and protein, which are essential for bones. However, few people realize that cheese, like many dairy products, can hide dangers, especially for the elderly. It's no secret that many elderly people suffer from chronic inflammation and conditions such as arthritis or osteoporosis. Cheese, like other dairy products, can be partially responsible for this. How does this happen? It all comes down to saturated fats and proteins, which can trigger inflammatory processes in the body. Have you ever thought that maybe cheese could be the source of your joint pain? Let's explore further. To understand why cheese might cause inflammation, you need to know that it contains not only beneficial substances, but also compounds that can increase the level of inflammatory markers in the body. Cheese is rich in saturated fats, which can activate inflammatory processes. These fats, in turn, increase the level of harmful substances, such as prostaglandins, that contribute to inflammation. ChatGPT, Y plus C plus UI. Imagine that every time you eat cheese, you're adding a component to your body that may irritate your joints and even internal organs. This is especially relevant for those who already suffer from chronic conditions or experience joint pain. Cheese not only can cause inflammation, but also contributes to its intensification, as it adds substances to the body that are not easily digested and absorbed by elderly people. The fattiest types of cheese, such as cheddar, brie, and camembert, contain particularly high amounts of saturated fats. When we consume such cheeses, the level of omega-6 fatty acids in our body increases, creating ideal conditions for inflammation. These acids can worsen the condition of joints, increasing pain and slowing down the recovery process. Here is a fact that may surprise you. Research shows that increasing the consumption of saturated fats and omega-6 can lead to chronic inflammatory diseases, including arthritis. If you already have a predisposition to such diseases, high-fat cheese will only worsen the situation. When we talk about cheese, it's important to remember that it's not just a source of fats, but also a fairly calorie-dense product. In older age, when metabolism slows down, consuming high-calorie foods can lead to excess weight, which in turn worsens joint problems. Excess weight is an additional burden on the joints, and if your diet includes a lot of cheese, you may not only be increasing inflammation, but also gaining weight, which will only complicate your issues. You don't want to worsen your joint pain with extra pounds, do you? That is why you should consider reducing the consumption of calorie-dense cheeses and switching to lighter options. Now that you know why cheese may not be as beneficial, let us think about how to replace it in your diet. Healthy cheese alternatives can not only reduce inflammation, but also support the health of your bones and joints. A great alternative is cheese made from plant-based milk, such as almond or soy milk. These cheeses contain much less saturated fat and do not cause inflammation. You can also use plant-based yogurts enriched with probiotics, which help improve digestion and reduce inflammation in the body. If you still want to enjoy cheese, choose low-fat or low-calorie varieties, such as mozzarella or ricotta. They contain fewer fats and calories but still retain their beneficial properties. How often does cheese appear on your table? Share in the comments how many times a week you include cheese in your diet. Maybe you should reconsider your consumption and pay attention to how your body responds to this product. Let us know how cheese affects your health and well-being. Chapter 2. 7. Don't forget about variety in your diet. Remember that no single food can fully satisfy all of your body's needs. It's important to diversify your diet by adding more vegetables, fruits, and plant-based proteins that don't cause inflammation and help maintain joint health. To avoid joint problems and inflammation, you need to ensure a balanced diet. Moderation in consuming cheese and other saturated foods is key to longevity and good health. Maintain your health by considering all aspects of your diet, and you will feel the difference. Many of us grew up with milk. From childhood, we were told that it strengthens bones, gives energy, and provides essential vitamins. But what if I told you that for elderly people, milk might not be as beneficial as it seems? Yes, milk does contain calcium and vitamins, but there's a catch. As we age, our bodies lose the ability to fully digest milk, which can lead to various problems. Milk contains lactose, a sugar that many people cannot digest after the age of 50. And if your ability to absorb lactose diminishes, milk can cause unpleasant symptoms, bloating, stomach pain, and even intestinal issues. But that is, not all oat milk can also cause inflammation in the body, especially in those who suffer from arthritis, osteoporosis, or other chronic conditions. As people age, many begin to experience lactose intolerance, which manifests as stomach discomfort, bloating, and digestive problems. This is because, with age, the activity of the enzyme lactase, which breaks down lactose in the body, decreases. Studies show that over 60% of people over the age of 50 experience some form of lactose intolerance. Now, imagine that every time you drink milk, you're adding a product to your diet that causes discomfort in your stomach, disrupts digestion, and can even trigger inflammation. This can affect not only your digestive system but also your joints, especially if you are prone to chronic inflammation. But that is not all the risks associated with milk. Milk can cause inflammation even if you don't have lactose intolerance. Why? It is because of dairy proteins, such as casein, which can trigger inflammation, especially in people with heightened sensitivity. Studies show that dairy proteins can activate the immune response, leading to chronic inflammatory diseases like arthritis. Now imagine that the milk you drink every day could be the cause of your joint inflammation. With every glass, you hear increasing inflammation in your body, which may worsen joint conditions, raise your pain threshold, and slow down the recovery process. This is particularly true for elderly people whose joints are already worn down. Milk is traditionally considered one of the best sources of calcium. This mineral is vital for maintaining bone health, especially as we age. However, as we mentioned earlier, with age, our bodies are not always capable of efficiently absorbing calcium from milk. Furthermore, milk is not the only source of this important mineral. There are milk alternatives that can provide just as much calcium, but won't cause inflammation or overload your digestive system. For example, leafy green vegetables like spinach and broccoli, as well as nuts, seeds, and plant-based dairy products, are excellent sources of calcium that are more easily absorbed by your body. You might think of milk as just a drink that gives you calcium and vitamins. However, milk can also affect your skin. Studies show that dairy products can contribute to the development of acne and other skin issues, especially in people who are already prone to these conditions. But what is important for elderly people? Milk and dairy products may be linked to inflammatory processes in the body, which can worsen skin conditions and lead to premature aging. If you have skin issues or want to maintain a youthful appearance, it might be worth reconsidering your milk consumption. If milk does not provide the benefits we've been accustomed to hearing about, what are the alternatives? Today, there are many plant-based drinks on the market that can make a great substitute for milk. Almond, oat, and coconut milk, all of these products, not only do not cause inflammation but are also enriched with vitamins and minerals essential for your health. Oat milk, in particular, can be especially beneficial as it not only contains calcium but also supports cardiovascular health due to its high content of soluble fiber. It is a great milk alternative for those who want to maintain a healthy heart and joints. How about you? Do you drink milk daily? Have you noticed any changes in your body related to its consumption? Share in the comments how milk affects your health and well-being. Perhaps it is the cause of your digestive or joint issues, and it might be worth considering replacing it. After all, milk is not an essential product for everyone. If it causes discomfort or contributes to inflammation, it's worth looking for alternatives. The market offers plenty of beneficial plant-based drinks that can make an excellent substitute for milk without causing inflammation or disrupting your digestion. Instead of continuing to consume these products, it is worth thinking about how to replace them with healthier alternatives. For example, what can you use instead of cottage cheese and cheese? Which milk should you choose? Are there products that can support your health without the risk of inflammation? Share in the comments how often you consume cottage cheese or cheese in your diet. Do you have any sensations or joint issues? Now that you've learned about the risks of dairy products for your health, don't rush to exclude them right away. We're all different, and it is important to listen to your body. Change your approach, try new, healthier alternatives, and you will feel how your body thanks you for it. The next time you're choosing products, think twice. Your joints and health will thank you.